Hello! Welcome back to an ATOYO update, and I have an update finally. I'm trying to keep these fairly regular as I work on the game to actually show you guys that it's coming along and there will be a release soon for early access so you can play the game yourself. I want to show you what I've been doing. So, it's nothing massive, but at the same time it's very important. So, a lot of what I've been showing you have been new features or bug fixes or solutions to problems I've been having to develop the game to make it functional. This is probably the first real quality of life improvement I've done prior to release. So what I did here was I completely changed how the tab system for buildable items works. Before it used to be like you would have furniture, and then you'd have, well, if I go over here, you'd have furniture, and then you would have tableware, and then decor. So it would be like furniture would be tables, chairs, that kind of stuff. The tableware would be plates, bowls, cutlery, cups, candles, those kinds of items. And then it would be decor, which would be everything else. Boxes, barrels, flags, antlers, knives, swords, shields, armor sets, DM screens, those kinds of things. I split everything into their own categories, and I've created multiple pages for these categories. So page 1 right here is this is page 2. This is page 2. Where are we? Different decoration buttons. Let's get rid of page 2. Page 1 is tables, chairs, bowls, plates, utensils, cups. Basically anything you can put on a table or around a table to make your tavern functional. Or, yeah, make your tavern functional. It's ATOYO, a tavern of your own. Sorry, I saw someone making a tavern tycoon type game, and I was like, wait, is this going to be anything like my game? And then I forgot about it for a second, and then when I said tavern, I was like, wait. It just threw me for a second. Anyways, so page 1 is basically all of your tables, chairs, and things that go on tables. Page 2 is all the additional stuff. It's lighting, it's armor, it's weapons, it's shields, mountings, barrels, and boxes. It's all the things that go on the walls pretty much, aside from super unique items. Now, this won't be everything, mind you. This is just going to be the initial stages of Tier 1. I say initial stages because there's going to be a lot of updates after this for additional items, new systems. I want to add in a way for NPCs to generate dialogue that gets recorded. So if you want to learn about the world that you're playing in, you can then go through a logbook of all of the interesting conversations that happened since the start of your tavern. You won't need to. It's not necessary to the game, but if you would like to learn about the world, you can. And then page 3 so far is just the unique items. And by unique items, I mean specifically the real world stuff. A dungeon master screen, a dice tray, and a fighter mini. This tab is going to contain things like that. Real world referenced items. So it'll contain more miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons. I'll put terrain in there so you can actually build a little scene on your table if you want to have a table in the corner that has people playing D&D on it when they come to eat food. They'll have that, and you can actually see people sitting there playing it. Well, not seeing them sitting part of it, but you'll see people sitting around the table you've set up that looks like a D&D table. That'll be fun. I'm going to add another page for relic items, and these relic items are going to be things like pop culture references. They're going to be the Master Sword, it's going to be the Emperor Sword from Warhammer, it'll be the Deku Shield, it'll be the Doom Marine helmet, it'll be those kinds of things. It'll be maybe the TARDIS, maybe I'll give you a little small TARDIS you can put somewhere, but I want to make a bunch of pop culture references, because that was one of the main intents behind this game. It wasn't just to build a tavern, but it was to have these kind of cool items you could display. And then another tab after that's going to be in-world relic type items I don't have a name for yet. So that'll be like your magical items. Like it'll be like a necklace that glows and gives off this, or it'll be like a suit of armor that shines in this way, or it'll be a wand that creates, sparkles or whatever. It'll be those kinds of items. And that'll be basically Tier 1 generic items. Now, one of the stretch ideas I have for the scope of everything is after I finish Tier 1, 2, and 3, or maybe even before that, maybe after I finish Tier 2. Tier 3 is kind of its own thing. Maybe once I finish Tier 2, I want to add in the functionality to allow the players to change the landscape of their tavern. So instead of having this this basic European medieval tavern, You can change the look of it to be from any culture, or you can make it just like dark and evil and like full of chains and goop dripping from the walls. I want to do that kind of stuff. So that'll be its entirely different like inventory system where it'll be like, hey, this is the actual like generic items, and then this is where you get the evil stuff. This is where you get like the holy stuff, and that's like super stretch goal. That'll be like near the end of tier 2, before release, like before 1.0. But yeah, that's something I want to do later on. So this is effectively just building out the foundation for that later on. The entire intent behind this will be I'll be able to go, I'm just going to take all of the tavern decoration buttons and just copy and paste it and create a whole new system. I'll change the way it looks. I'll change everything about it to create these cool, new, unique, dark, gritty, happy-go-lucky, whatever styles. On top of that, you'll be able to change the actual look of the tavern. You can do individual things. Eventually, it's going to be a thing where you can change the walls, the roof, the floor, the bar itself, and the pillars that support everything. You'll be able to change the actual design of the tavern to match your choice of aesthetic. That may mean I have to put that at the start, like what kind of tavern you want. I want it to be something you can do actively during the game, but given how the game is running, how it's working, it'll be a little finicky. You might have to do that and then redecorate the entire tavern. I'm not sure. I'll have to figure out a way to make that work. Again, that's after Tier 2. Tier 2, by the way, if anyone is interested, is it will have the ability to send adventurers out to get unique items. So right now, you start with the generic stuff that I basically supplied, except for certain unique items like the flag and certain cups, the DM screen, the dice tray, the miniature. The really fun items, those will be ones you have to buy from the merchant with in-game gold you earn by selling food to patrons. I don't know where I was going with this for a second. Tier 2 will allow you to send out adventurers to get unique items for you. So the way it works right now, or the way it's going to work once I get around to building the system, is that when the merchant comes every third day, it'll be like every Wednesday basically, you can go and buy inventory, and which inventory is just like tables. You don't have to buy more log tables, you just buy tables. And then every table pulls from that one inventory. It doesn't matter which table you use, it'll pull from that one inventory. However, buying new items, buying a new style of table, buying a new candle, buying a new wall hanging item, those will cost you significantly more gold than the other things. Because then you're adding something new and unique to your tavern, and it's how I'm making the quality of life changes, that instead of having to buy a whole bunch of this one light fixture, you just have light fixtures and then you buy access to that light fixture. That's how it's going to work basically. So in Tier 2, instead of going to the merchant and buying those unique features, you send out adventurers on a chance to get those unique features. And that's going to be another bit of a gold sink. Once you get to a certain point, you'll be making too much money, so then you have to spend on the adventurers to go out and get you these new items. You'll also be able to sell items back, so if you have too many tables, you can sell tables back to the merchant. And there will be someone somewhere who finds a way to be like, oh, this item buys for this much but sells for this much, so if I just buy a shit ton of them and sell them back, I'll make more gold. That will happen eventually. I'm not sure if I'm even going to bother patching that out, because it's a single player decorating game. If you want to have infinite money, I might just put a cheat in for it. I don't know. But yeah, that's the grand scope of Tier 1 and 2, is just basically allow you to purchase items, purchase inventory, purchase food, to then make food to sell to patrons, to then go purchase those items and decorate your tavern. The whole point of the game is to decorate your tavern, and then that's it. There's no like mass story here. There will be background story, but the whole point of the game is to decorate your tavern. As for Tier 3, I said that's a whole different thing. For anyone who hasn't been here for a while or hasn't paid attention to this, Tier 3 is where you go out and do the adventuring yourself. And that's why it's like out there on its own, because that changes the entire dynamic of the game. It turns it into a little RPG where you're like, okay, I really want like a dragon head. I don't trust these adventurers to go get it. I'm going to go do it. Or it's like, hey, I'm going to trust the adventurers to go get this thing. I want to go get this, like, I don't know, slime dagger. So you go get the slime dagger. And that's a super easy quest for you to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to build in a system that allows you to level up your character, or if you're just going to be a certain thing, or a certain this, or certain that, or if you have items to upgrade. That's its own game. That I'm like, Tier 3 is just out there on its own, and eventually I'll get around to it. But Tier 1 and 2 are like the game itself. So I'm hoping, and this is a big hope, that this week, well, not this week because I have a lot to do this week in the house, next week and next weekend, I don't know when I'm going to have time. I need to find time, basically, in the next, I would like in the next, it's the 13th today? I would like to find time in the next 2 weeks to finish Tier 1. And that's my goal. I want to get Tier 1 out and released on Steam and itch.io before the end of the month. Which is going to be a problem because I have so many items I have to add. I have so many features I need to... Oh, not so many features. I have a couple features I need to add in. I need to make it look good because right now it just doesn't look good. If I go back to the game and go to the actual tavern. Let's go out of 2D mode. Go to the tavern. Like, your world is this. You don't have... I want to put like a forest behind. I want to put a trail in the front, grass and hills, and maybe a garden or something. I want to put a lot of things around the tavern, and I just haven't had the time. I've been too busy with moving and painting Warhammer now, and I've got so many things I have to do. Okay. Instead of pressuring myself to get this done by the end of the month, I might just push it to the end of the next month. If I can get it done before the end of September, not done, but if I can get the Tier 1 done by the end of September, I'll be happy. I think that'll be my goal. September 30th, which is a Monday, I will have the game released on Steam in early access, of course. So that's my, not my promise, but that's my goal. Hold me to it, please, because I really want this game to be pretty successful. Not pretty successful. I want it to at least make me a little bit of money because I'm about to go back into school for something and I won't have a job. So if I can make a game that makes me a little bit of money while I'm going to school, I'll be happy. And if it makes me a lot of money, I'll just make more games. Win-win. I do also have to finish Horde game, and that's an entirely different beast now. Not that the game itself has changed, but just the thought process of it, where I have ATOYO in a fairly functional state. Horde game is just about functional, and then it'll be refinement, improvements on animation, improvements on map design, adding textures to the map, and adding a whole bunch of things that I'm not really good at yet, but then I'll have at least one map done for Horde game. So I'm going to go, because I have a lot to do. So thank you for watching. I shall see you later. Good day, and goodbye.